Oh, actually, that perfectly covers my roles, so that works.
I'm trying to do the same thing over here. Right? Okay.
All right, so for the BTS picks, just kind of like never give them a pod and then.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, honestly, we'll just kind of start it. There's no real start to this,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what I will say is I really appreciate you being here. Ponch coming all the way from San Antonio.
Absolutely, man.
Awesome to have you here. I would consider it fate that brought us together, and it's been an experience getting to learn about you and your businesses. But most importantly, I want this to be focused on you. I got to know Dan Plummer a little bit when I was in the office one day, and learning about his history and where he came from and everything that he's done was awesome.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a selfish moment for me. I want to learn about your past and your history. But first, what I wanted to immediately jump into is where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the current businesses that you're running, and how did it come to be?
Yeah, so it's honestly, it's been the same industry for 34 years, I think. Actually, 31 years since 1994. So mortgages, that's all I know, man. That's all I know, Alec. I mean, I kind of...
Alec, I'm going to stop you because I was right in front of this camera that entire time.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, keep going.
Keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so a little background on myself, man, Alec. I graduated from a small school in Brownwood, Howard Payne University.
Hooda-ma-wada?
Yeah, it was a Baptist school, you know.
Okay, all right.
And of course, it's been the best thing that's happened to me, you know. But I was going the baseball route there, and initially I was offered a scholarship to play baseball at A&M. Blew out my ankle.
No.
Yeah, so that was a big blow.
So you were an athlete.
I was an athlete, man. Yeah,
Nice.
in fact, you'll hear more about this. But in 1995, I did the American Gladiators.
No, you did
Yes,
not.
yes. So if you sit there and Google my name, Ponch Bafitis, American Gladiators, you're going to pull video of myself. Of course, this is almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But, very competitive, man. Very competitive nature, and I graduated from college, and I migrated from Brownwood to Dallas.
Okay.
Followed my friends at the time. Of course, my wife now, Missy, was my fiance, and
Did you guys get engaged in college?
no.
Oh, okay.
We met in
Gotcha.
college.
Okay,
Yeah,
met in
so I was playing baseball there and running some indoor track as well, and I met Missy there. She was working at a grocery store. I went through her line 3 or 4 times, and finally had the nerve to kind of
Just be like,
get
I
the
forgot
number.
something. Oh, I forgot something.
Yeah, it's a story we tell our kids. I said I went out there with 10 to 15 items, and I wanted to put everything back and just kind of went one by one to go through a line a few times. But yeah, I met Missy in college, and she continued to work at that grocery store, and I had to go look for JOB, man. So I moved to Dallas.
J.O.B.
Hung out with my friends, and they say, hey, come down here, you got a free place to stay. So I did that. And
Is that where everybody was going from your college for the most part, like Dallas?
No,
and...
it was just my friends were there.
Okay.
My friends were there from my hometown, and so we're always real close. And so what I did is I just kind of followed them out there. And I was that guy, though, Alec, that would hop from one job to the next job, always looking for the better opportunity.
Yeah.
I think at one point I was a bill collector.
No way.
I was, and that was kind of a rough job, man. I was, I'd have to call somebody up, and it was good, good cop, bad cop, and I'd call them up and say, hey, you owe so much money, and, it wasn't for me. I'd, second person to go in there and slam the hammer on these guys, and you'd get old ladies crying, hard to pay their bills. So that wasn't me. So I kept, pretty much hopping from one job to the next. And finally, a friend of mine that I used to work out at the gym with said, hey, man, there's this privately held mortgage company. There's only 10 people in the company. I think you should give it a shot. So I went out there and interviewed with the owner, Bill Edwards, who I still speak to, years later, and actually was my mentor. But, he interviewed with him, and he said, hey, man, he says, come on board. You're young. I'll teach you the ropes. And, he said, it is 100% commission only. I said, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
He said, well, you pretty much don't get a guaranteed paycheck. It's what you put into it. It's what you're going to get out. So I said, you know what? That's pretty interesting. We'll give it a shot and see what happens. The friend of mine that brought me into it, he said, hey, man, he says, I just made $600 yesterday.
Yeah.
He says, I've got another appointment today, and I should make like $800. I was like, $1,400, that's more than I make in 2 months.
Right.
So I said,
Right.
let's give it a shot and see what happens. But for me, though, Alec, is I come from a, poor background, Father passed away when I was 18. Mother was working 3 jobs. She's, wasn't my inspiration. Actually, tomorrow's going to be her 5th anniversary of being up in heaven.
No.
But, Yeah, so I decided to give this mortgage company a shot. I didn't know how to spell the word mortgage, and I kind of gave
Nobody
it a shot.
does. Nobody does.
Yeah, I gave it a shot. And one thing I do remember that the owner told me, he says, hey, listen, just listen to what I have to tell you, and you're going to be very successful. So I pretty much leaned on him because I had no, male figure and no father figure. And
Yeah.
he seemed like he was going to be that person in my life, right? And actually has been that person in my life. But I decided to go and take a shot at it. And when I came into this company, though, Alec, it was called Mortgage Investors Corporation. Like I said, it was
This
only
is the company that your first commission job there.
Yes.
Okay.
Very
Gotcha.
first commission job.
In
Very
Dallas.
first- in Arlington. Very first commission job, mortgage company. There was about 10 or 11 of us with the owner. And one thing about that is that all the people that were working there, they all had a second job. In other words, their spouses. They were married to someone that had a second job or income that was coming in. I didn't have that luxury.
Right.
So I had to go out there, and for me, it was more of survival.
Yeah, you'd hustle.
So I had to hustle, man.
Bring this a little closer to you,
Yeah.
by the way, just to make sure the sound is good.
Good.
Yeah.
So I had to hustle, man. And one of the things that I did is it's been the best thing for me because I had to kind of self-teach myself. There was no formal training. There was no structure. There was kind of like what our company is going through right now. We're structuring, we're organizing, and things like that. So I was pretty much on my own.
Yeah, they threw you out there and you had to figure it out
They
on
did.
your own.
They said, hey, you know what? Here's a calculator. Here's a phone book. There was no telemarketing. There was no appointments. And so it was something new for me.
Did the peers try to help you at all, like your colleagues? Did they try to lend you? No?
Everyone. In fact, the people that were there were more into they were just pretty much horse playing around and just jacking around and really weren't too. I couldn't afford that. I had to work. I had to make a paycheck. Right. So I went to work. And I started thinking out of the box. And it got to the point where at the office there was Nerf balls being thrown around and it was just a lot of horse playing going around there. And I couldn't concentrate. I wasn't getting any work done. So I actually, asked my manager, I said, hey, I'm still, with the company. Is it okay if I work from home? Mm-hmm. The guy says, no, you can't be doing that. You got to work from here. So I talked to Bill Edwards, the owner. I said, hey, things aren't working out. I said, I got to go home. I said, give me a shot to go ahead and make phone calls from the house. And so he said, yeah, whatever it's going to take, right? So, man, Alec, I went out there and...
So the manager said no.
Manager said no.
But the boss, the big guy.
Yeah,
he
boss.
said, go for it.
Yeah,
whatever
said,
you need to have
you know
to
what?
succeed.
I understand. I said, hey, listen. I said, there's too much horse playing going around here. I said, I can't really participate with that. I said, I've got to make a paycheck.
Yeah.
I said, I've got to survive.
Did they not want to change the culture at all?
Well, it was so new that it was a new company. The company had only been around for about 4 or 5 months, and so there really wasn't too much culture there, and definitely not discipline or structure, anything like that. So, and of course, being 21, 22 years old back in the day, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I thought that was normal.
I mean, I was going to say that sounded fun. Like that seems like it
fun
was
for
a
the
decent
people,
environment.
And it was okay. It was a fun atmosphere.
Yeah.
But I knew I was a little bit more level-headed, knowing that, hey, you know what? If I continue to operate out of this office, man, we're going to drown in bills, and I can't afford this, right?
So you're 21?
22 years old.
22 years old. This is what year then?
This is back in
Try to recall.
1995, I think that's when it was.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I was 3 years old.
23 years old. How?
I was 3 years old.
Tells me how I could be your daddy, man. But no, listen. So I went home and I spent money I didn't have. I contacted the phone company and I said, hey, listen. I said, I need you guys to come in here and put a little phone jack into my bedroom, in my closet of the bedroom. It was a 1-bedroom closet. And by that time, Missy had already come over to Dallas, and we're living together. And so I went to work, man. I was dialing out of the phone book, making my own appointments out of the phone book.
How many phone calls were you making a day?
I was probably making anywhere from 3 to 4 days worth of phone calls just to get one appointment.
Okay.
And I tell my people now, I said, listen, guys, I said, anytime you have an appointment, I said, you should close 100% of your deals. I said, and I'm proof of that. I said, because back in the day, I said, things have come too easy for my employees right now, right? And so they're kind of just sitting back, waiting for everything to land in their hands. And so I always...
That's my job as a marketer.
Yeah, exactly. and so you're making our jobs... By the way, you've been a blessing to our company, man. I want to talk about that here shortly. But, so I had to go out there and fend for myself, and I was making phone calls, and 3 or 4 days of finally making phone calls. And it was kind of crazy, so I'll kind of run you through this, right?
Please.
So back in the day when I started, the interest rates were around 17%.
Whoa.
We had
no way.
Yeah, so when people talk about rates being high right now, I'm like, guys, you know what? Rates are 5.5 to 6%. I said,
That's a steal.
Yeah, so people are still living 3 years ago when the rates were down to 2%. And those days are gone. Now, knock on wood, hopefully they'll come back.
Yeah,
right?
they might.
Yeah, so man, Alec, I went to, I was calling people.
Yeah.
And all we were offering back then was just nothing but a VA IRRRL, interest rate mortgage.
What is that? VA IRRRL?
VA IRRRL. It's
Okay.
good for interest rate reduction refinance loan.
Okay, nice.
And so it was for veterans only. We
Okay,
serviced
yeah.
nothing
I
but
assumed with the
veterans.
VA.
Yeah, if anyone wanted to purchase a house, we couldn't help them out. We were strictly a refinance campaign company.
And you don't, I mean, you're going through the phone book, so you don't have like
Man, I'm
the tools that I do where it's like, I know this is a VA loan, so we can call them directly.
It was, and I'm still used to that old school, man. I don't mind getting on the, picking up my telephone and contacting somebody, just cold calling. In fact, that's kind of how the Level program was born. But no, I used to call people 3 days until I finally got one appointment. And when I got that one appointment, I was like, you know what? This is gold.
Like a holy grail.
This is gold. I'm going to close this deal. I'm not going to leave this guy's house until I close it, right? So we, quickly I became the #1 loan officer in that.
How quickly?
Arlington
I got to know
branch.
how quickly.
Yeah, within the first 2 or 3 months, man.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Keep
incredible.
in mind the company was probably less than 6 months old, and
Sure.
I'm in there. I was the newest guy, and didn't want to participate with the horse playing and with the balls being thrown around.
And you were
so-
pioneering the work from home.
I was, and I think I was probably the youngest guy there too.
I believe it.
So, yeah, became the #1 loan officer, and somewhere maybe about 5 to 6 months down the road, the owner recognized that, and about 5 to 6 months down the road from when I first started, he came to me and says, "Hey, Ponch," he goes, "You know what, man?" He says, "You've become our top producer here in what was considered the corporate office back then. Only one office, 10 to 12 people strong." And he says, "I think I want to open a second office in San Antonio. And you speak Spanish. I think I want you to be the guy." I said, "Well, you know what?" I said, "I appreciate the opportunity." What's ironic, though, is that the manager that I had in Dallas had a brother. And they were Mormons. They were from Utah, and they had a bunch of kids. And just great people, though. However, when I was offered the office in San Antonio, the manager found out and wanted his brother Steve to come down here and manage.
Create a bit
So
of
I
a riff.
Yeah, so I became the assistant manager, which
Okay.
I was okay with. I always wanted to come to San Antonio. Sister was down here. I love the city. So it was my way to get from the Metroplex to San Antonio.
Yep.
And
Were you excited about that move? Because, I mean, I'm sure Arlington and Dallas was pretty built up.
Yeah,
back then,
it's-
but I don't
it's,
know if San Antonio was as large.
yeah, Dallas is good to us. We lived there we were there for about 4 or 5 years. And I always tell people that the reason the Dallas Cowboys won those Super Bowls is because Missy and I were there at the time. And as soon as we moved to San Antonio, all of a sudden they haven't won since then. And the San Antonio Spurs came and won 4 or 5 championships. So I think we're credited to that as well.
That's hilarious. I
But
just got done watching the Jerry Jones Netflix documentary. During
I love that, man.
Yeah, during
Yeah.
that period, and so good to know that you were their good luck charm. Yeah.
I was, man. I'm surprised he didn't cast me for the show. But yeah, you know what? I saw that, and Missy and I sat down and watched that. That's a pretty good show. So
Yeah.
those of you that haven't had a chance to see that, take
Worth
some time
it.
to take a look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you made it down to San Antonio.
Made it to San Antonio, and at that time it was the managers. I wasn't aware that the managers they were paid a salary plus commissions. Their commission structure was small. The
Based on the success of all the salespeople, I
branch.
assume. Yeah, the branch.
They
okay.
were exactly. And this guy Steve, who was my manager, really wasn't coming into the office. I was pretty much doing everything, and I was reporting back to Bill, and I just said, "You know what? Listen, this guy's not doing anything. I'm doing everything here."
Yeah.
And I said, "I think it's time that you get rid of this guy." I said, "Put me into the position." I said, "Because I'm doing everything."
Yeah.
So he took my word for it.
Really?
And he wanted to say, "Hey, you know what, Steve, if you want a job, you can come back here and work for Mickey and your brother in Arlington." So I don't know what the guy wound up doing, but I took over the office, and that's when really things took off for me. I would say this is about mid-'95 to latter part of '95. I was a branch manager. And
And you're 23 now.
23, 24, somewhat less than 25.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, again, I was that guy that was able to think out of the box. And so what I started doing is I knew that there was no such thing as telemarketing. There was no such thing as leads coming through the fax machine. In fact, there was just cell phones. There wasn't computer. There wasn't internet. Nothing. You had to go out there and figure things out yourself. And so what I did is I sat there and said, "You know what? There's an empty wall here." I took a bunch of dollar bills, 20s, 5s, 10s, $100 bill, and I put them inside balloons. I blew them up, and I spread them across the wall. And I told my guys, I said, "Listen, anytime you guys set an appointment, take a dart, bust a balloon, and it's your money."
That's
All of a sudden, the guy started working, right? So our numbers in the San Antonio office were doing about 2 or 3 times more than the original office in Dallas.
Nice.
And so, so the owner's taking notice of all this. And here he came again, knocked on my door and said, hey, listen, man. He says, I think it's time for us to grow this company. I'm moving to St. Petersburg, Florida. You want to stay here in San Antonio? You can do that. You can move to Florida with me. I said, no. I said, my kids we're here.
Yeah.
I said, I can work it from here. So I said, what are your plans? And he gave me the keys to the company. He said, hey, let's grow this company together.
Wow.
So
now, when you say that, and I don't mean to interrupt you there, but when you say, here's the keys to the company, run it, or let's run it together, did that really mean you go and run it while I'm retiring in St. Petersburg?
Well, you know what? He was very involved and very instrumental, but for the most part, though, he really leaned on me. And he would kind of take my ideas and
round them out. Yeah, round them out.
Yeah,
Okay.
in his own version, right? But man, we worked so well together. And one of the things that we had a hard time fighting with is the fact that, back in 96, early to mid 96, is really when I started running the company. And, he assigned me to go out there and start opening up offices. There again, I had, never even opened up an office. I was part of the San Antonio branch opening, but it wasn't me. It was Steve. It was Steve who opened that office. And so, but I learned everything on my own, and that was the best thing that could have happened to me, to especially in the position that I was in, such a young company. And so, really, there was a whole lot of trust from Bill. His name is Bill Edwards. Bill Edwards to me to help him run the company. And so what I did is when I was promoted to president of the company, I confided in my mom and said, hey, Mom, I said, I've got this big title. I said, what do I do? And she says, hey, you know what? You've done well for yourself. Just talk to Bill. He's your best friend. Talk to Bill. And so there again, he says, you know what? Just go out there and duplicate yourself. So I wound up doing that. I hired some of my best friends, people that I knew I could trust, and I created the infrastructure for the company. I spent some time on the road. I spent some time in St. Petersburg, Florida, which is where the office was at. We created a marketing division. We came up with some scripts and we role played. And
what was the marketing division back then?
So back then, the marketing division was there was no such thing as telemarketing leads coming through a fax machine. And I kept telling Bill, hey, Bill, I said, the reason that my office was doing so well, I said, is because I was really motivating and pushing these people here with money. And, and I kind of gave them scripts on what to do here because we had no scripts. And so...
so you're slowly creating standard operating procedures, sales scripts, et cetera.
Pretty much, yes. And so what I was doing is I spent a lot of time, 7 days a week, just between San Antonio on the road, opening up offices, flying to St. Petersburg, Florida, where the corporate office is at, hiring them, helping them hire people, train them, interview them. And so all of a sudden, telemarketing was born in St. Petersburg, and we had like 600 people. So within 3 years, Alec, I helped grow that company from 10 people to over 4,500 people in 3 years. And we went from doing about 20 loans a month to doing over 20,000 loans every single month.
Wow.
And that was with one product only. It was nothing but a VA Earl. And we became...
Did you refinance every veteran in the nation?
Every veteran, man. Sometimes 2 or 3 times when the rates would go down, we'd go out there and refinance them again. But it was not even... We weren't even doing purchases.
Yeah, wow.
So it was strictly refinances. We were going out there and, like I said,
were interest rates coming down consistently at this time?
They were consistently coming down.
Because this was then lining up with the 01 bubble, right?
There was, yeah. And there was a few times they would go back up. We'd shut the company down for a few months, reopen it back up once again.
Yeah.
Our downfall at the company is that we had one product and one product only.
Sure.
But we were very good at what we did. And everyone really...
Specialized.
Yeah, specialized. Yeah, pretty much branded ourselves, and we became the VA Earl Kings in the country. Mm-hmm. We were the number one mortgage company in the country with only one product. There's other mortgage companies out there that were doing, FHA, VA conventional, refinances, new home purchases. There was no cash outs back then. And we were toppling those guys with one product. And like I said, we were the number one mortgage company in the country with just one product for 17 out of 20 years.
So you were president of a company, the number one mortgage company in the nation at the age of
23, 24 years old.
That's wild.
It's wild.
Holy schmoly.
And not to brag, but
it's not bragging. These are facts.
It's facts. And I came from a very poor upbringing.
Yeah.
Okay. But one thing that I did do is I learned. So my roots are very much embedded in West Texas, a small town by the name of Pecos in West Texas. And
Never heard of it.
well, we're known for our home of the world's first rodeo. And things like
Okay,
that. So
all right.
there's a little bit of Western history there.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it's tiny.
Yeah.
And so now, though, it's oil. It's a ton of oil
yeah,
out in the
yeah.
Permian Basin. But, growing up, though, Alec, is, my father was hanging out with the wrong crowd. Beautiful man. In fact, I carry his name. I go by Ponch, but my real name is Alfonso. I'm the third.
And then your son is the fourth.
Yep, the fourth.
Yep.
And so, everybody called me Ponch because his name was Alfonso, so that was just a nickname, Hispanic thing.
That's the first thing I looked up once I saw your name. I'm like, that can't be his real name. And I looked it up, and it's like, oh, it's a common nickname for Alfonso.
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
it is.
gotcha. All
It
right.
is. Yeah. But growing up though, man, it's I think I've kind of carried the principles that my mom taught me a long time ago. She was that person that was always working 3 jobs. Like I said, my dad was somewhat in the picture when he would come to my baseball games, my football games, and I'd see him there. But you could just tell that he was just running around with the wrong crowd.
Sure.
You know,
So relatively absent father.
very, very much so, but
Yeah.
not a violent person. I mean, and he was just, everybody says he was a beautiful man, and he
Yeah.
really was. He was just
Yeah.
a handsome, man, and just a very caring person. But unfortunately, fell into a trap with the wrong people, and so he kind of followed that road. And he would try his best to be there for our games, but it was growing up though. It was my mom. My mom was the male figure, and the
Yeah.
female figure, the mom.
My
and the
my
dad.
family is very similar. My mom was a military woman, and dad just, I don't know, he was just a little different.
Are they
He
still
did-
alive?
My mom is. My father passed 3 years ago.
Got you,
Yeah.
got you.
Going on, actually, this will be the 4th.
Were you
year.
still close with your dad up to the point of?
The last 10 years of his life, I didn't talk to him at all, actually. Yeah, it was tough.
But your mom is your rock.
She is. I'm a mama's boy.
Good for you.
No
man.
question
You know
about
what,
it.
man? Those are the best. I'm a mama's boy also
Yeah.
as well. So I could tell in your demeanor though, man, you got a big heart. So that kind of really drew me into you. But growing up though, man, I had no money. We had no money.
So what do you think? Was
And-
this
and so-
was this the primary motivator for everything that you were doing at this time?
Yeah. So let me tell you, as a little first grade, I tell people the story. I said, when I was 7 years old, I said, I was a bum. I used to beg. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you how I used to do that.
Interesting.
And then I went from being a bum to being a gambler. And then I went from being a gambler to being a bum. Then after that, I got scolded. So what I mean by this is that when I was in first grade, and by the way, let me take you back a little bit. My mom, dad, not in the picture. My mom was working as a teacher's aide. She was driving a bus. She was working at a gas station. She was working at a steakhouse just to maintain for the kids. So it's me and my 2 sisters. I think you've met Gabby.
Yep, I have.
So younger sister, and I have an older one that's very successful. So I had no brothers. It was my 2 sisters, myself and my mom, and we lived in this small little house. And so we were the perfect family that really fit the mold for free lunch and social service help, right? But my mom was too proud, okay? And she says, you know what?
She's a strong woman.
Very strong woman, never cursed, never smoked, never drank. She was all about her kids. And one thing that she did, she says, you know what? You will not work. You're going to play sports. You're going to have fun. You're going to make good grades.
She protected your childhood.
Very much so. But when I was in first grade, this is when I remember very clearly how amazing my mother was. I noticed when I was going to the line, she would give me $1, and that dollar lasted for a whole week of lunch back in the day.
Oh my
Think
God.
about that. And that was not free lunch. That was like full paid lunch, right?
That's crazy.
But I did notice that when it was time for us to go buy our lunch, you could either buy the green ticket, which is a full paid lunch, or you were given a red ticket. That was free lunch. And my mom always said, you know what? My kids will not have the free lunch. They're not going to be labeled with that red ticket. So she would pay $1 every single week to get her lunch. And actually it was 75 cents because a quarter was coming back. I'd pay my $1 and I'd get a quarter back. So man, I'm sitting there looking at these quarters that are going back into my friends' pockets. I'm sitting there thinking, man, I wonder what these guys are going to do with their quarters. I do remember.
They need a mortgage.
Yeah. Well,
kidding.
and my mom said, you know what? I mean, I remember her talking to my aunt in Spanish. I don't think she knew that I understood Spanish, but I did, right? And the only thing she ever wanted was a coffee maker growing up, okay?
Aw.
At least when I was growing up. So I said, you know what? I'm going to buy my mom that $18 Mr. Coffee Maker, but how am I going to do this? So, man, Alec, I'm seeing quarters coming back to these kids. So I'd go to people like, hey, Alec, what are you going to do with that quarter? Listen, I want to buy my mom a coffee maker. Do you mind giving that to me? Well, yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
I started collecting quarters. And it got to the point after a while that Jesse would come to me, Patricia would come to me, Sammy would come to me like, hey, Ponch, here's a quarter, here's a quarter. I was collecting quarters. But, man, that move right there was way too slow. So I went to recess, and I think I'm the one that invented to pitch a quarter against the wall to see who's closer and you win the money back. I think I'm the guy that invented that, man, right? So I give myself credit for that. But I went to recess, and all of a sudden, the people that didn't want to give me their quarters, I was like, hey, you know what? Let's pitch a quarter against the wall, and the one that gets closest to the wall gets the money, right? So I was winning, man.
That's hilarious.
I was winning. I was doing well.
You were the house.
I was exactly. I was MGM, right? I was the house, right? And so, but God intervened, man.
Oh, really?
God intervened. He said, hey, listen, man. You're 7 years old, man. You've been over here bumming for quarters. Now you're gambling. So he taught me a lesson. I started losing, man.
Oh, really?
I started losing. So I said, all right. So I got to go back to to bumming. So I went back and before you noticed, I had the $20 to buy my mom that $18 coffee maker and got it for her, and then I had to answer to her. I got in trouble for that.
No shit.
Yeah, man. It was like, what are you doing? What's happening here? I taught you better than this. Where are you getting this money from? And
She wasn't proud of you?
Not until she found out what I was doing. But in that small town, though, it was very.
Find out stuff quick.
Well, it was very infested with drugs. It was gang related, low riders. It was predominantly Hispanic, and you had to be part of some type of clique, and especially when you got older. But she thought, hey, is my son running around with the wrong crowd? My husband is, which is my dad. My dad is doing the same thing. Is my son falling into that trap? We're not gonna let you fall into that trap. I said, no, Mom, this is what I've been doing. I said, I would never do that to you. So I always kind of saw how hard she worked, and she was really my driving force. And I said, you know what? I said, I want better for my kids. I want better for my wife. I don't want my kids to have to go through what my mom has gone through, and so my wife as well. So, this mortgage company though, man, Alec, not to brag, man, but I mean, I was bringing in $200,000 every 2 weeks, man.
That's insane.
Every 2 weeks. And that went on for years and years. So we were able to build up generational wealth, and we put that money away. And it's crazy because at the time I could have afforded to have bought cars and houses and I didn't know any better though, because I wish I would have done some of that stuff. I talked to Eric.
Have a little fun?
Yeah, well, bought some stuff that I could have written off, right? Because Uncle Sam and I'd make, 4 or 5 a year. And Uncle Sam was taking a couple mil from me. I didn't know any better.
Right.
And I thought that was just normal. I'm happy with what I'm getting.
Well, nowadays I can go on Instagram and there's a tax strategist every 3 posts that's telling you how to save your money from the government taking it via taxes. And you didn't have that back then.
There was nothing like that.
Yeah.
Back in the day, there was nothing.
And I'm sure even wealth advisors didn't understand tax strategy. They just
they were the market. They were like market. Hey,
right.
don't put it over here in Bank of America. You're only going to get 1.5%. Put over here, you'll get guaranteed 7%. And so we did that. And you know what? It's been great because even when the market has gone down, we really haven't lost. Our money has been very safely invested. And so we've been able to live off our interest, for the past probably the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, last 10 years or so. So
one thing I don't want to skip over, though, is when you were working at the mortgage company, you told me briefly about 2 things. One, the technique that you utilized when you were refinancing people in their homes and the way that you laid out the package and everything.
Yeah.
That one. And then also the idea behind the telemarketing and how you recruited all those people via the newspaper and the ad that you put in. Can you talk about the newspaper?
Yeah, so let's go through the telemarketer first. We'll go backwards on that. Yeah, so actually when I was working at this place called, it was ATC.
Okay.
No, NHCD, National Healthcare Discount. We were selling dental and optical plans. That was my last job before I came into the mortgage industry.
Got it.
And so we were selling dental and optical plans. It was like the Texas plan where you get a discounted rate and you sell these little plans for very cheap. So, there was a contest that was going on here, and it was to Cancun. I'd never been out of the country, never been on a plane, right?
Yeah.
About, 19 or 20 years old. But they were running a contest, and when I was with this company, I was way behind. So I decided to go and take some money, and I spent it on some Dallas ads, and then I said, hey, I'm looking for moms that are willing to go and make phone calls from the comfort of their own home in their own pajamas. Reach out to me. Well, we finally got pagers back then. There still was no cell phones back in, this is like 93, 94, before the mortgage industry. So these ladies were leaving, or these people were leaving messages on my pager and my voicemail, right? I was able to listen to them. And I'd get home and I'd make these phone calls. And finally I brought on like 3 or 4, women that had very soothing voices that I said, hey, they attracted me on the phone. I think they can do the same thing for clients that I'm looking for. So I put these ladies to work, and I was paying them cash. I wound up winning the contest. We wound up going to Cancun, my wife and I.
Let's go.
Yes, it was awesome, man. But then I had to answer to Uncle Sam because all the money I was paying them, I had to pay their taxes.
Oh, shit.
Because I was paying them money on their, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better. But so that was telemarketing. And again, always thinking out of the box, so Alec, and there again, I put scripts together for them. I say, hey, these are the scripts you're going to follow. They say this, you're going to follow the little roadmap. And so I did that. Now, when I was with MIC, Mortgage Investors Corporation, the mortgage company, like I said, I was motivating my guys back in 95, 96 in San Antonio when I opened up the office to start telemarketing. And I kept telling Bill, the owner of the company, I said, hey, Bill, I said, we got to get telemarketing into this company. Hey, it's never going to work. Telemarketing in the mortgage industry does not work. And by the way, there's no deals.
How did he know that? I mean,
He did know that.
Okay,
Did know it
yeah.
because he was very, very strong-headed. He wanted to do things his way. And so he gave me a shot, and that's really when the company took off. Now, we knew that these telemarketers producing leads, there was no such thing as a do not call list. And so we could call people freely, man.
Yeah.
You know, they tell us, hey, get lost, don't ever call me again. We're calling in 5 minutes later, man. I mean, that's how it was,
You feel
right?
better now?
Yeah. No, we started calling. Now we've got to create a presentation to have these loan officers go out there and sell these deals,
So first you're setting appointments.
setting appointments. And every appointment that we set was done in-home. A loan officer would show up in a suit and tie, knock on the door, present themselves. And it was a presentation.
Right.
And so before we had a presentation, though, everybody was going out there just kind of selling things on their own. And at that time, I think we might have had maybe 4 or 5 offices, not too many.
Yeah.
So
But they were all free range. They were doing what they wanted, how they wanted to.
And still, my office in San Antonio was just crushing everyone else when it came to the numbers.
Yeah.
So naturally, the owner of the company, Bill Edwards, wanted to know, what are you doing, man? I said, well, listen, I've got this worksheet, and I've got lines on there, and I have some little scripts on the side. So when they're rolling through these numbers, they're just reading what it says here.
Right.
And he says, hey, you know what? Maybe we should adopt that for the company. So, of course, I flew down to St. Petersburg. We put the presentation together, and then we took it a step further. So the presentation was this right here. We would knock on someone's door, and we would introduce ourselves. And at that moment right there, we knew that first impressions are everything. You can pretty much win a client over within the first 10 seconds. And so we always offered to take our shoes off, and we always told our people, make sure that you guys are wearing socks that don't have holes in there, because if they do tell you guys to take your shoes
Don't
off,
wear white
it's gonna be
socks
very
that are dirty,
embarrassing, right?
you know?
Yeah, so, we'd offer to take our shoes off and would gain the respect. And of course, they would naturally say, no, come on in.
Yep.
When they'd tell us, they would wipe our feet.
I
And
was going to say, I remember you showing me the
yeah,
action
we'd
of.
shuffle our feet right there in front of them, and then would make our way in, pass out our business card, and then we had this thing called a warm-up. As soon as we got into the door, I told everyone, the sale begins when you get inside the door. I said, pick something they like. Well, how do we do that? I said, well, normally they're going to have pictures around the house. I said, and they're going to put pictures on the wall of something that they like, whether it's their kids, whether it's of horses, or whether it's a green pasture, whatever it might be, right? So we'd go in there, would warm up, and would really get to be, we became friends with the people.
Right.
Very friendly with the people.
Make a friend,
Okay.
sell a friend.
Yeah, we made friends with these people. We kind of took their temperature. Once we knew that we kind of had these guys, responding back to us, then we'd recommend the kitchen table. And that was our point of control. So we'd warm up, get them to like us, and be responsive toward us. And then after that, we could tell when they were into us. So what we did after that is, now it's time to go and set the stage and really set structure and create the fact that we're in control. So we always recommended the kitchen table, because the very first thing they would want us to do was, hey, come on in here, sit inside the kitchen or in the living room.
Yeah.
The TV was there. Oprah Winfrey was on TV, and we don't want them watching TV, so we would always recommend the kitchen table. And when we'd do that, they would sit down. We'd let them sit down. This is all part of it, man.
Yeah.
This is all part
There
of it.
was also not the open concept very popular back then. So like the kitchen was probably normally quite separate from the rest of the house.
It really was. Yeah, exactly. There's so many rooms, right? It was all broken up. But one of the things that we would do is we'd let them sit down intentionally, and then would make them get make them get up. The reason we did this was to show them that we're in control. And the way it was done is very professional, very subtle. We'd tell them, hey, you know what, Alec? I understand you just sit down. If you don't mind, why don't you sit here? And Mrs. Jones, why don't you sit here? I'll sit right here. And what we would do is we'd all sit on the same side of the table, because if we were across the table from them, we were adversaries.
Right.
And now we're together. We're with each other, not against each other.
It's you and the solution presented in front of you.
Yes, and we always set the table. If it was me, a man, then the husband would sit right next to me and the wife on the other side. If I was a female, then it would be the wife and the husband. So we always wanted to make certain that, again, respecting the relationship.
Yeah.
And then after that, we would go in there and we just do the presentation.
Yeah.
And the presentation itself was another animal. I mean, we were closing 95% of the deals that we were walking inside a home to.
Well, you gave me the example presentation, especially for the one that you're using right now. And I mean, it was smooth, man. Like
it
it's
is,
just smooth.
Because we always, part of sales is always predicting what your clients are going to say or what their move is going to be. In this case, we're inside the home.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit different. We're having to do things inside over the phone, right, or by Teams. But back then, we did everything inside the home.
Yeah.
So, and my guys would travel 2 or 3 hours one way for one appointment, so they weren't going to leave that house unless they got the sell. And so we showed these people because, I mean, think about it. If I'm going to knock on someone's door today, they knew last night they set this appointment, and they know someone's coming to their house today, so they have formed a pack. Husband and wife have sat there and said, hey, you know what, honey? Someone's coming to our house today, and we're not going to sign anything. We're not going to buy anything. We're not going to do anything today. So they formed a pack. So we have to go in there, gain the respect, shuffle the feet at the door. We have to warm up, get them to like us. We have to show them that we're in control because we're going to demand an answer. And then we got to break that pact, that agreement that they had. And so we would tell them, hey, Alec, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to tell you about your mortgage and what we have to offer. And when I'm done, if you like what you see, you tell me yes. The bobblehead closed, right?
Yeah.
You tell me yes, and we'll provide you with this benefit. And if you don't, I'll be my way with no hard feelings, fair enough, and would shake their hand really hard, man. Would make them feel that they were going to remember that we shook hands. And so it was a presentation. It was a theatrical presentation. We did a lot of voice inflection, a lot of acting, a lot of bobblehead yeses. We did a lot of tie downs to where, when we're showing them benefits, we'd sit there and say, hey, you could use this benefit, couldn't you, Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
And it was never a remark. It was a question. We always wanted them to say yes or say no, right? And so they always said yes, especially when we're doing this number right here, right?
Yeah, I can't. I know this and I use it, and even when you're doing it, I'm going.
Yeah, it is, right? So it was natural. So these are all the techniques that would teach them. No, and so we could kind of control the situation there. And before you know it, Alec, we were walking away with almost 100% closing ratio, 95 to 97% closing ratio.
It's nuts.
It's
salespeople would kill for that kind of close rate now.
100% these days. So things have detoured a little bit. Now we're having to, do things over the phone. We can still do things by camera, but not too many people are wanting to get on a Zoom call or a Teams call. But we do our best to try to, to overcome any objections. And then on top of that, though, is our company now is really focused in on purchases versus refinances. So it's even a different animal.
Yeah, well, I might be switching that a little bit for you come this month here in December.
I'm excited about that, man. Yeah.
The level stuff's been going good so far, but we'll get into that in a minute. So you're at MIC. You've completely changed it. You've turned it into the #1 mortgage company in the nation. Then what happened? 17
out of 20 years.
17 out of 20 years.
Yeah.
So you were there until what year then?
So I walked away November, I think it was November 23rd of 2014.
Okay, and why did you walk away? Why were you done?
So for many reasons. Okay. Number one is I had been trying to walk away for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I was constantly on the road, and I had a G5 at the time, so I was traveling around I mean, I was like a rock star, man. It was crazy, but I was touring, and at the very beginning it was nice, and after a while that kind of wears off a little bit.
When you say touring, though, what does that mean? Were you going to rock concerts or were you going to presentations? Like what were you touring?
So what I was doing is I was
fine.
actually hanging out. We were flying from city to city to where we had offices.
Okay.
At that time, I think we had close to 40 offices, so I would bounce from one city to the next city, and I'd show up, suit and tie.
Yeah.
I'd give my presentation, and we were checking. We'd spend literally anywhere from 2 to 4 hours per destination, jump in the plane, back to another one. And so what we'd do at that time is when we landed at an office, we would go in there, and of course, the manager already knew that we were coming in there.
Yeah.
They'd have the whole entire staff prepared. They wouldn't set any appointments for that office on that particular day. I'd go in there and I'd kind of give my speech and really just a motivational speech. And my speech was based around 3 words. And it was belief, energy, and excitement. Okay. And we always kind of preach those three words: belief, energy, and excitement. You've got to believe in what you're doing. And that's what I try to tell my people right now. Listen, your belief in this product, if you don't believe in this product, then how can you convince your clients to take, to take advantage of this rate or whatever the case might be? I said, and you've got to convey that message over. And then you have to have the energy. You know, you have to have the energy to go wake up every single day, say, hey, you know what? I'm going to grind. This is a commission job only. I'm not going to be satisfied with this much money. I need to be making this much money.
Here to win.
And of course, the excitement, you got to be excited with what you're doing, because if you're not, then how can you sit there and enjoy, your job? So that was the message I was sending across.
So you were the Grant Cardone and the Tony Robbins of the company.
Before those guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Without even knowing those guys existed. I mean, I was going out there and it was just, speaking from the heart and just trying to get these guys to grind, man. That's, and I would be a hypocrite though if I wasn't doing that myself.
Oh, sure.
But I was always able to tell these guys, listen, I came from nothing, guys. I came from nothing. And look at me now. I'm standing in front of you guys, traveling in a G5 jet, giving you guys this spill. So it was an inspirational story, and it made a difference. That's what my job became. And so, for 2 or 3 years, I had been telling Bill, I said, I think it's time for me to walk away.
And you're how old at this point then? You're 30-something?
Oh, man. What am I? 2014, I'm...
Yeah, 34?
Yeah,
33?
35, 36.
Okay. And you're looking to retire?
Yeah. I was looking... Yes. I mean, keep in mind, I became 25 years old, man. I was a liquid millionaire.
Wow.
And never looked back since then. And they say that your first big one is the hardest one to make, and after that they come in. And so I kind of saw that, right?
Your first million's a lot harder than reaching, or than everything.
The first one is always the toughest.
Yeah.
After that, it becomes...
It does.
routine.
It's just like all of a sudden 5 million, and then all of a sudden 10 million.
It is,
and
man.
I have yet to go beyond that.
Yeah.
But
and the crazy thing about it, though, Alec, is that I never bought toys back then, man. And I could have. I was that one guy that could have.
that's interesting discipline.
Yeah, it's a lot of discipline, because you know what? I think I've always been that humanitarian type person, to where I just want to give. I want to give back. And to me, I said, like, you know what? Missy and I have enough money now. I want to start taking care of my kids. And you've met some of them, but man, my kids are so grounded. They're so grateful. They're yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. They open the doors for, for the females. So they're good kids, man.
You raised them well. I appreciate that. I've got a few friends who have very wealthy parents, and you would have never guessed.
Yeah.
Because they're humble. They don't brag. They are just very down to earth, and your kids are the exact same way compared to some of these northeastern, snotty nosed brats, and it's just kind of like, I don't.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But they're so relatable and fun, and they work hard.
Yeah.
They've definitely gotten that from you.
Yeah.
Because I see Fonz, and I see Alyssa. Alyssa was even on her honeymoon and still managed to pop out a couple emails and a couple text messages.
Yeah, that's it. And Corey's got COVID right now. He's running 104 fever. Was at the hospital twice in the past 2 or 3 days.
Wasn't he on the call yesterday though?
He was on the call. He was on the call. In fact, he's at the office right now. It's like, what are you doing there, man? Just go home and just work from home. But yeah, they're workaholics as well, and they know. We set the example for them.
Yeah.
My wife and I, and it's crazy though, because every vacation that Missy and I, that's my wife's name, Missy. Every vacation that Missy and I have ever taken, Alec, has always been with the kids. And now the kids have wives and they have kids, or they have spouses. And we still take them and we pay for everything, even though they don't expect that. And so they've been practically almost begging us, guys, stop taking this vacation. Mom, Dad, y'all need to start traveling.
Yeah.
Y'all need to start traveling. So I think 2 years down the road, maybe that's a game plan. But right now, we got some work to do. Alec Winters and Ponch Bafitis and the rest of the gang. We have something to build, man.
Yeah, we do. I was a little upset that I missed your Friday call. I believe it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, but you had created this like image of the prophecy of like what level and direct rate was going to become. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, Nostradamus, Nostradamus is a good friend of mine, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't exist anymore, but you know what? I joke around, but so I put together this thanks to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I put together a little book that was from Nostradamus, and it kind of had some of the sayings some of the predictions that actually came true, the towers and things like that.
I remember.
Flag. And so in there, in a certain section, I put on there, that level by the end of 2026 will be the #1 real estate platform in the country that I feel is going to save the industry. It's a tough industry right now.
Big time.
And then to the right side of that page, I put on there that within 2 to 3 years, I feel that direct rate will be one of the biggest mortgage companies in the country, if not the.
Yeah.
And so people say, hey, Ponch, you're crazy, man. That's not possible. Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible. You've
I
done it
made
before
happen
already. Yeah.
I've done it before.
Yeah.
I've done it before. So, if I hadn't done that, then it would be question mark.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I think that we've got something together, especially having you as a part of our company. I think we have something special here that's really been created to go out and save the industry. I mean, let's face it, right now, for the past 2 years, the real estate market has been in shambles. It's been hurting.
Oh, yeah.
It's been rough. There was a stat that came out. So Alyssa and I attended February of this past year. We attended a ceremony that we were invited to Keller Williams City View, and they're the largest. They got over 1,067 agents, more agents in their company than anybody else in San Antonio. So we were invited to go out there and give a speech on our company. But one of the stats that they announced at that day is that 76% of the real estate agents in 2024 did not have one transaction.
That's nuts.
And 50% of those 74 are no longer in the industry.
That's wild.
It's wild, bro. It's wild. And so, I think what we've created here with a level program of being able to compensate real estate agents an extra 1%, to me, it's a no-brainer. Mm. And I get the fact that these real estate agents, they have their preferred lender. I get it. We're not here to disrupt that. We're just here to sit there and say, hey, you know what? There's a better opportunity if you should want this. And who doesn't want that? I know that if I was provided an opportunity to go out there and say, hey, you know what? If you just spend $400 or $500 to get your license for the rest of your life, you're going to have a 33% or more raise on all your income. Show me what do I have to do. Sign me up right now. Right. And so that's what the level program is all about, and we can talk about it a little bit further. But
well, that's what really amazed me about it too, is you guys aren't charging people money in order for them to get into this position where they're a dual licensed agent.
We're charging our own company money to support those people. That's right. Exactly right.
Exactly. Yeah, you're just study and then take the test, and then we're going to help you through that process. But this very minimal cost, is just to get you to the point where then we can support you even more in helping you earn more money. And when I realized what the level program was offering, I was like, how do I become a part of this? Yeah. Because if I were a real estate agent, that is the number one thing that I would want, is a seamlessly integrated and easy way to make more money and support my clients in order to make them happy. Because ultimately, real estate and mortgage too, those industries are very relationship based. Even my marketing and advertising, but it's all relationship based. And maybe in 20 years, it'll all just be done by computers. But for right now, people want to talk to people. They want a good experience. And when they can come to one person to help them not only find the right home, but then close on that home, and they don't have to talk to 20 different people.
Skipping out the middleman. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it, Alec, and I'm glad you saw the vision. First of all, I got to let you know, man, that the sentiment to you is I feel like you're a blessing to our company, man. So
thank you.
And I let you know that. And
that means a lot.
The timing is perfect for us to kind of get together. But I think what you said a while ago, it really resonates, because man, the people that actually understand the level program are like, guys, this is genius. This is a no-brainer. I'm not being charged money. You're not taking money out of my paychecks. You're not charging me for seats on the CRM or for the systems you guys are using. And you're telling me that you're going to co-brand me with a loan officer actually knows what they're doing, so I don't have to do the work. That's exactly what we're doing. That's what the level program is about. The level program is about going out there and getting your license and allowing us to go and compensate you by running your loans to Direct Rate. And by the way, Direct Rate is a great company.
Yeah.
It's got a 5-star reputation since we've opened the doors. So the fact that Direct Rate does not charge any origination fees, we've got some of the lowest rates in the industry. Our loan officers answer the phones 24/7. We've got fast closings. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, this is a perfect combination for a real estate agent to really save themselves with.
As much as you guys care about making money, that's important. You're not consumed with making the same amount of money that every other mortgage company is making. You're looking at it from a volume perspective.
100%.
So you're making it, and this is why again I really liked the company and the vision, is you're saving the clients money that the realtors are working with. The realtors are making more money. You're creating a more seamless experience all the way around. So it's just like there's benefit after benefit after benefit. I mean, I can't say no closing costs, but like you guys aren't charging origination fees.
We don't charge any lender fees.
Right. Yeah.
So any fees that are associated with it are things that we can't control. For example, like homeowners insurance.
Sure.
We're not the homeowners insurance company. Title work, appraisals and things like that. So taxes, things like that they're going to have to pay. But even then, though, we're coaching real estate agents to go out and get seller concessions in order to utilize that money
to buy a lower rate.
Customers buy a lower rate and wipe away those third-party fees. So there's even times that clients are coming to us and they're getting a home with no money out of their pocket.
Right.
They put down an earnest money and they get that earnest money back. So there's a lot of good things happening with the Level program at direct rate. We're excited, man. Yeah,
you guys are just like hands down. I mean, you are hands down the best mortgage company in the industry because you're not here to gouge your customers. You're here to put them in a better position. And it's easily seen. Like a lot of people will talk a big talk. Companies will say, we're the best. We'll take care of you. We really care about you. But when it comes to the actual execution, you guys are actually doing that with the amount of money that you're saving them at multiple steps during this. And then you're just throwing money around to make sure that everybody's happy, everybody's doing well.
That's exactly what we're doing right now.
It's very giving of you.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome.
I appreciate that. We're like I said, I mean, myself and my business partners are in a situation to where, we don't need to get compensated.
Right.
We know that's going to come later on. Right now, we're just trying to build something.
Yeah.
And we see, excuse me, we see every day the benefit of really putting ourselves out there and growing this company here. And so the real estate agents, and there's several, but the real estate agents that are part of the Level program are starting to become live testimonies to the program itself.
I just did one the other day, and that's the one that really cemented my position in wanting to push this company. I spoke with Jacob Lopez. In fact, he's coming to Austin on the 20th, and we're going to grab a drink together.
Is he from Houston?
I think he's in the yes, he's in Houston. Yeah.
I think I know you're talking about. Good guy, man.
Yeah. And he's
lots of energy.
He had a lot of positive things to say, and
good.
I had a series of questions, and he just answered them in the most perfect ways. And what was great is I started off the interview. I said, just be genuine, be honest. Like, I don't care if I get any clips from this.
Yeah.
Like, I just want you to be genuine and honest. The whole thing was filled with clips that are fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because he just had nothing but good things to say, and it's like this.
It's amazing to see the excitement, the joy, the belief that these guys are getting out of it, and people are starting to find out.
Mm-hmm.
People are starting to find out because there's even a recruiting platform where people can go out and recruit and make money off other people's efforts.
Right.
And so what's happening, though, what's neat, though, is every Thursday at 11 o'clock in the morning, we have a high-level presentation that's given by Gabby. And there's people in there. There's one guy, for example, Jay Arbizu, if you're listening to this. Shout out to Jay Arbizu out there. But Jay Arbizu is one of the first guys that we brought into the Level program. And it was nice to see in one of these meetings, he was wearing a Level T-shirt. I don't even have a Level T-shirt, right? I'm like, Jay, where did you get this T-shirt? He goes, I went and got this thing made. I was like, you know what? I love it, man.
That's
so
awesome.
It's neat, though, man, to see the excitement that's going on out there. And, I pound my chest every single day. And one thing that my mom always said is, you know what, you take care of people and you'll be taken care of. Yeah. And so that's been my heart, though, man. If we have found a way to go out there and take care of these real estate agents. And it's kind of crazy, though, Alec, because you think about it, and I say our company because you're part of this as well. Direct Rate is a mortgage company. We're not changing the mortgage industry. We're changing the real estate industry,
mm-hmm.
And so...
So what was the problem that you saw that inspired you to go this route and create this program?
The first problem that I saw is that I come from the refinance world,
mm-hmm.
okay? And so I'll take this question a little bit backwards. So coming from the refinance world, there's 3 or 4 things that have to happen with your company in order to not lose that sale. Number one is you have to answer your phone 24/7 when it comes to refinances. Number 2 is you have to be the lowest rate in the industry. If not, you're going to lose that sale to competition. Number 3 is your customer service skills. You've got to treat every single customer like their family and do it in a genuine fashion, not in a, I'm going to do this to earn some type of commission fashion. Right. That's not the way it works.
Right.
But there's several factors that we've taken from the refinance industry into the purchase industry. And I didn't know any better. Keep in mind, when we opened this company, me and Alfonso and Corey, my 2 sons, founded the company. We came from the refinance world. We had never done a purchase. We said, well, let's go do this. So what we did is I was given an opportunity to mark my margins. Margins are what control your rate. So I can make a ton of money on one loan, or I can make a little bit of money on one loan. And so what factors dictate that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, your interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make a lot of money, then your rates are going to have to be very high so they can give you that rebate on the backside.
Sure.
So I've selected to not have our rates very high. I've selected to have some of the lowest rates in the industry. So we don't make a whole lot on every single loan, which really benefits a customer, okay?
Right.
Number one is they don't have to pay anything out of their pocket for lender fees. Second of all is they're going to get probably the lowest rate that they can find out there.
Absolutely. Especially if they are getting some seller concessions.
Exactly, yeah. So, where rates are 6 and 7% out there, we actually have rates on the purchase side that can dip into the 2 and 3% range on temporary buy downs. So, I think that kind of factored into, part of this program. And then one thing that we saw is that we started off, when Eric and Ben Brunton, my business partners, joined Alfonso, Corey, and myself with the company, we were about to purchase a bank. We were very close to buying a bank. And I didn't let Eric and Ben do that. I said, guys, why are we going to do that? I said, if we buy a bank, we're going to have the regulators that we have to answer to. Everything is going to be through a panel.
Yeah.
Board of directors. Sorry about that. And I said, we're going to be limited to the products that we can offer. I said, that's not the way we operate.
Mm-hmm.
I said, don't buy the bank. Let's come over here. Let's do this through the wholesale channel. So we've been doing that, and I've partnered up with several investors out there. And, one of the things that I saw in the market out there is that it was so hard for us to attract real estate agents, even with the low rates that we have, even with the time frames, the closing quick time frames that we have, our response time, our availability, our no fees. It was still hard to attract real estate agents. And we started doing this, in San Antonio, and we found out that in San Antonio, everyone is all these real estate agents are connected with someone else.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard for them to leave. I get the relationship. I do get the relationship. Okay. So we couldn't get anyone. So then we signed our very first MSA. It's a marketing strategy agreement that we signed with CityView, and it wasn't working out. The MSAs are designed to, the higher powers are the ones that win, and really the ones that really count, like the real estate agents, they don't get anything out of this. And the higher powers try to push their agents, hey, use direct rate. They're a great company, and there's no motivation for these real estate agents to use direct rate.
Right.
So we saw that we were losing that battle there. So, the executive team got together and we said, hey, you know what? We can't do a kickback. That's illegal. We'll all be serving time in prison. But there was a law that was passed back in 2022 in 45 states. And the law reads that a real estate agent can earn on the real estate side as well as on the mortgage side. So we started doing some research, Alec, and we said, hey, you know what? Let's do some research on this. And so we did about 6 months worth of spending a lot of money, put ourselves in the red at that time, and spent a lot of time with our attorneys. And they were loving us because they were making so many changes to the agreements that we had, and they still are.
Yeah, I'm running your legal department through.
Yeah,
I'm using up their retainer with all of my.
But I'm glad you are, though, man,
You know,
and you have, and you're doing the right things. So I'm not mad at that. But we found out that there was something that was missing out there, and real estate agents, some of the relationships they have with their loan officers are because the loan officers bring them coffee and donuts in the morning, or tacos, or Spurs game tick, whatever, right? Yeah. Even though they're not supposed to be doing things like that.
Sure.
So what we did is we researched for about 6 months, and then we decided to launch Level. And Level is very simple. It pays real estate agents an extra 1% on their transactions up to $7,000. Unlimited transactions, whether it's one per life or whether it's 1,000 per life. And for the most part is these real estate agents don't have to learn how to be a loan officer. We support them.
Right.
Okay? They get their license. We sponsor them. We co-brand them with a loan officer. They send the link, and they send the communication link, and they earn that $7,000 paycheck on that $700,000 mortgage that they were donating before. So that's a Level program.
Right.
And so
And it's even more incredibly advantageous because at this exact moment, rates have already dropped. They're likely to continue to drop. So as soon as somebody becomes an MLO and a dual licensed agent, they can tap into everybody that they helped buy a home over the past 3 to 4 years, ask them if they want to refinance. They can easily bring in, I mean, if they have lower amounts of transaction, they can easily make $50,000 in a month just getting people to refinance. And then they're making their clients happy, likely to now become a lifelong client because they've helped them both with them. They've helped them both achieve and buy their home and then help them save money on that home as soon as the time was right for it.
Like those people have a gold mine sitting in their hands.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tammy Ortiz. There's a girl that we're working with right now. Her name is Tammy. Real estate agent, and John, one of our loan officers, reached out to her and said, "Hey, you know what? Thought about this as well. You know, you're already in the program. So, how many transactions have you done? Let's just say the last 4 or 5 years." And she said, "I've done this much." And then John put the numbers together and said, "Hey, how would you like to know that the majority of these people can refinance, and you've got over $100,000 sitting in your pipeline right now that we can get to you before Christmas time?" Mm-hmm. It's like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah. So what's happening right now is that we have rates in the lower 5% range for FHA, for VA. So if any client out there has a 6% or higher, there's a real good chance that we can save them money. And if they're part of the level program, that real estate agent is going to gain an extra 1%.
Yeah.
So it's not the level is not the 1% is not being paid out just on the purchases. They're for refinances as well.
Right.
You know. So there's a lot of excitement going on right now with these real estate agents. I have this saying here: the only reason that someone wouldn't sign up with a level program are for 2 reasons. Number one is they haven't been contacted, or they have been contacted and they don't understand how it works, and there's a good chance on that. But for the most part, everyone that we talk to, they understand how the program works. They're like, "Sign me up."
Yeah.
Sign me up. So
well, now that we've been also running these marketing and advertising campaigns, you guys are not used to getting warm leads. You're used to the cold calling.
Yeah.
And I think Rupa and Arlex have seen it as a godsend in that way. But it seems like a lot of people are interested.
Yeah.
You know? It makes a lot of sense. So
how
does
you started this campaign? I think we've had like over 250 hits.
Yeah,
in
250
4 or 5 days or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 250 leads inside of about a week and a half. I mean, right now I think your guys' cost per lead is sitting around $20.
Yeah.
And I told you guys it might be 250. So
yeah.
I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah, no, it's been great. And like you said, the warm lead is everything. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, keep in mind that I come from the world where we're cold calling people and I was still being successful. And these warm leads are people like, "Hey, tell me more about this." And so, yeah, Rupa and Arlex and that team, they're having a great time of just really. It's been a pleasure working with these people because they're not getting hung up on.
Right.
They're not getting told, "Hey, you know what? Leave me alone. Get the heck out of here." So it's
they might get a reschedule, but that's about it.
That happens. That's part of it, right? Yeah. Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit more, and the audience as a whole, like how does Level keep the agent client facing while your team is handling a lot of the heavy lifting? There's still services rendered that the dual license agent is taking care of, but how do you work behind the scenes in order to keep the agent more client facing and not doubling their workload while they're doubling their income?
It's such an easy program because a real estate agent if they're just a real estate agent, they have a job to do, and that's recommend 3 mortgage companies. Okay? Every real estate agent has to recommend 3. Whether they do it or not, that's up to them, and some people do, some people don't. But real estate agents are required to recommend 3 mortgage companies. And of course, they can put their preferred at the very top and kind of push the people to go to the very top. But the cool thing about Level is that a real estate agent, once they get their license, they no longer have to do that. Okay.
Oh, right. Yeah, because that would be the equivalent of a mortgage loan officer who is just a mortgage loan officer being like, "Yeah, you can use me, or here's my competition."
Yeah, and they're not going to do it. Exactly. That's a good analogy, right? And so, and that's out the door now. So now a real estate agent does not have to recommend 3 mortgage companies. Now they put on the hat of a loan officer, and who better to send the application to their clients than themselves? There's no wondering, and so they're already talking to their clients. They're already front facing the clients. So it's a great experience because now they can go to their clients and say, "Hey, Mr. Smith, this gets you guys pre-qualified. Let me go and send you the application link. Okay, I'll email it to you. They're co-branded. They've got the application link on their email. They send it to their clients. And as soon as the clients receive that, they're receiving a phone call from the actual loan officer that's going to be the assistant that's going to be handling the majority of the work. So we just want our real estate agents to focus in on what they're good at, and that's being a great real estate agent.
Yep.
Get your license, get co-branded, we'll sponsor you. We're going to go ahead and assign you to a loan officer. The loan officer will do the majority of the work so that you can continue just being a great real estate agent. So yeah,
Right.
the support is phenomenal, man. It's and it's if anything, we over communicate.
Yeah.
We over communicate. As soon as the clients are sent that application link, and as soon as they fill it out, it lands in that co-branded loan officer's hands. That loan officer is going to reach out to obviously the real estate agent as well as to the client to let them know, hey, you know what, Susie is your real estate agent. If you have any questions regarding inspections or things like that, she's your go-to person. On the mortgage side, we've got you covered.
Yeah.
So it's really a full back-end system of support, man.
Well, it's also really helpful too because I mean now the real estate agents, the realtors, as they like to be called, they have a lot of information and they understand the mortgage industry now.
Yeah.
So they can talk to them knowledgeably about what they can realistically afford or what they'd be looking at and help them walk through the numbers before they even get to that application process.
very true.
So it's just like you've just got a lot more information, you've got a lot more ammo to be able to fire off,
more,
and then you're setting yourself up as the expert. And you're helping them from the first knock on that door to helping them move in,
We've had some very positive responses, even from these real estate agents that are using us now that were having a hard time leaving their preferred lender. They've been working with forever. The very first closings they've had with us has been nothing but complimentary. Things like, hey, you know what? I was not, for example, like when we reach out to their clients, we're sending them very nice emails and they say, hey, you know what? It's going to be a pleasure working with you. We love that you're working with real estate so-and-so. She's the best in town. And so we're a team together. So these real estate agents are sitting there saying, hey, you know what? I appreciate the compliment. I never got that in 10 years with my current lender or the lender that we're working with. So yeah, we do things right there.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not by accident that Direct Rate has a 5-star reputation since we've opened the door.
You do, and I checked. I looked everywhere.
Yeah.
to see where somebody might have talked a little crap.
Yeah.
And it's 5 stars across the board, which is really cool to see.
Yeah,
That's a hard thing to do,
Yeah.
honestly.
We really push that, and we try to tell our loan officers, listen, you treat every single customer like it's your mother, it's your brother, it's your father, it's your best friend. I said, treat them like family. I
Yeah.
said, because we're going to get that next referral. And I said, and we'll never lose that agent.
Yeah.
And so it's worked out very well.
How do you think the perception of real estate agents is going to change for the general public as Level turns more and more realtors into dual license agents?
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is first of all, there's always going to be question marks swirling through people's heads, and we are kind of seeing this already. The first thought that people have about the Level program is this even legal?
Yeah.
Is this real?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's almost too good to be true for a moment.
That's exactly right. And most things that sound too good to be true are not true,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that's been one of the biggest hurdles that we're having to battle with people. But we give them all the ammunition. We're like, guys, listen, look it up. Congress, the United States of America, not Ponch, not Alec Winters, not Direct Rate. We're not the ones that came up with this. It was a law that was passed back in 2022. The only reason that we decided to do this is because, you know what, we feel like there's a missing link for these real estate agents in a very hurting industry. And so, and we've also gotten some of that hate mail, some of those hate calls and texts from other lenders like, you're really messing this thing up for us. What are you guys doing? You know what?
You're a disruptor.
We've disrupted it. So now other companies are trying to try this out there, but they can't because their margins are too high. Their payouts are not enough. They don't have the legal contracts behind them. It's a very, when you're doing this, you need to make certain that everything has been passed through compliance. And so we're bulletproof. This program is bulletproof. But I think more than anything else, though, to answer your question, though, Alec, is that I think once people begin to find out, they're going to want to. Who's not going to want to be a part of this?
Yep.
Once they find out it's legitimate and people are actually getting paid and the research has been done, and we're actually doing the majority of the work for them, then I think they're going to start, wanting to be a part of the gang.
Yeah, and I think it's also going to help their reputation because realtors have not exactly the same, but they have a similar reputation as car dealership salesmen, and that's not every car dealership salesman.
Right,
It's the ones everybody's ran into one of them, where they're very pushy. They're just kind of, they give you the ick, know. And some realtors have given the industry that reputation as well. But I think that with this combination of having these dual licensed agents, it's giving consumers a person that they can count on.
Yeah.
Somebody that they can depend on. And with the way that you guys
24/7.
24/7 and the way that you guys train and the way that you guys operate, you're teaching them to be better people. in a way.
No, 100%.
And it's a one resource that they can go to make sure that they have a seamless transaction.
I sit there and I ask myself sometimes, Alec, I put myself in the shoes of a real estate agent. I put myself in the shoes of a customer. Why would I not want to go with Level? I'm trying to figure, why wouldn't you want to be with Level?
Yeah.
I can't think of one reason. The only reason that I might be able to think of is that maybe this real estate agent is married, spouse-wise, to their loan officer. But aside from that, though, I just can't think of any reason why people wouldn't want to do this. It would be a different story if they were getting the 1%, but Direct Rate, who is a mortgage company, was dropping the ball.
Yeah.
That's not the case, man.
No.
It's a perfect marriage all the way around. So, even if they weren't earning that 1%, they would want to use Direct Rate for the simple fact that their clients are going to be put in a much better situation. No lender fees out of their pocket. Some of the best rates out there. We're responsive 24/7. If you reach out to your loan officer at Saturday at 10 o'clock at nighttime, they're going to answer, and they really will. So
And I have proof of that. I have the receipts on my phone because I have reached out to them.
good, man. I test them every now and then as well. So yeah.
So for an agent that's making or that has got a transaction volume of maybe just $5 million a year, what's a conservative annual upside? And that's not a promise, but maybe a range.
Yeah. Well, first of all, anybody that's got a book of $5 million per year is, that they're missing out on $50,000 in commission right then and there. Okay, that's 1%. But even then, this opportunity is so much more that they're missing out on, because what's going to happen is organically, their team is going to grow.
Yeah.
For example, let's say that you're that real estate agent that has a book of $5 million a year. Okay, it's not bad. Okay,
good.
It's about probably about $150,000 in commission. But they're also leaving $50,000 out there that they could be getting back had they gone through Direct Rate. And then on top of that, once people find out that you, Alec, are a real estate agent and you're getting compensated an extra 1%, they're going to want to know, what are you doing? Who's this going through? How do I sign up for this?
Yeah.
And you'll be able to sign up anyone in your organization or any other company out there that wants to be a part of this. I mean, which agent doesn't want to get an extra 1%? And if you happen to pass the word on to this real estate agent, that real estate agent that you just referred is going to be making the 1%. And as an agent, you're going to receive an override off their production as well.
Right.
So there's 3 or 4 tiers that we have here. And so there's an opportunity for you to not only gain immediately today, tomorrow on your production, but you can also grow a residual revenue stream.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people are doing is we have marketing people right now, like yourself, you're a CMO of our company, but there's people out there that are going to build themselves a very nice residual income
right.
that can walk away from this company in a couple of years and still know that I can walk away, but I'm still receiving paychecks.
Right.
Because real estate agents are always going to be doing business, whether they do one deal a year or whether they do one deal a month or a week, the industry is going to come back.
Yeah.
Okay. Rates are coming down, like you said, so it's shaping up to be a pretty solid market. We're excited.
Before we jump into these rates coming down here, I mean, this is after Eric's message last night to me and you. I went and looked through the entire funnel to a company that's not competing with you, but just had a really good funnel. So I funnel hacked it and I checked it all out. And I think that this program even makes the most sense for the manager or the broker of a real estate company, because they can become dual licensed. They can earn 1% on any business that they're doing. But then if they get their entire office to come in and sign up, then I believe the overrides, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the overrides work where all those agents in their office, they'll earn 0.2% on all of their loans. And then any of those agents that then recruit other agents,
0.1.
they'll get 0.1 off of that.
And even a level below that at 0.5. So
Yeah.
that's the case. So these broker owners that are out there, I feel no knock against them, but I feel like they're missing the boat.
Yeah.
And I say that because these broker owners could not only be earning 1% off their own entire volume, but like you said, they could be earning 0.2% off their whole entire company.
Right.
And what I mean by that, and when you put the numbers together, it really resonates a whole lot. For example, like on a $400,000 mortgage, if they've got a real estate agent that works for them and they do a $400,000 mortgage, Well, that real estate agent is going to make $4,000,
Yep.
and the broker owner is going to make $800 off that one loan right there.
Right.
So a lot of agents a lot of brokers are starting to utilize the level program to say, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm going to help grow my organization. And how am I going to do that? I'm not going to be charging my clients that 20% anymore. What I'm going to do instead, the 20% is going to be paid to me if they go through the level program. So a lot of these big agencies, the KWs, in some of these big organizations out there, a real estate agent that works for them, they make their commission, but they also have to be giving up 20 or 30%
Sometimes
to
more,
their company.
if
and
they're new.
sometimes more.
Yeah.
So I feel like the level program is helping replace a lot of the money that they might have to lose. And the cool thing about it, though, is that, real estate agents have asked us, hey, you know what? So if I close this $600,000 deal, how much am I going to make if I'm licensed? Well, 1%, which is $6,000. Okay, but how much are you going to take from me? Because I know other companies have tried doing this for a lot less, and they're charging me for their seats. And no, we don't do that. The only money that's going to be taken out of your paycheck is going to be to Uncle Sam, Social Security, FICO, and any taxes need to be paid. That's Uncle Sam. We have no control over that because now you can be considered a W-2, which by the way, that's a benefit as well.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah. When you become part of the level program, you're a part-time W-2 employee of direct rate, and now it opens up the possibilities to participate in a 401k, dental, vision, optical. These people don't have that right now. Most of these people are 1099s.
Right.
So lots of good stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I am also thinking about it in terms of recruiting. First of all, if you're a high volume real estate brokerage, doing $50 million a year, you can earn the 0.2% as the broker owner off of all of that. And then on top of that, it's always difficult to retain talent in any industry. Right. But especially in the real estate industry, they're always just going to look to who's going to give me the best split, like who's going to be able to provide me with particular marketing materials. And I've worked for real estate companies as a marketing and advertising company, and their marketing and advertising always stinks. But if you can offer these real estate agents who are high volume and high producing to come in and then say, hey, spend an extra $500 to get licensed in this. This is what makes us special. Now you can earn an extra 1%. It's just like, that's a great recruitment tool as well. Yeah. Like, listen, you can't just be a real estate agent with us. You have to be dual licensed. And by doing so, you create this nasty little powerhouse in your local economy. Yeah. And you can run the competition out the door because everybody's going to want to be a part of it.
You said it very well, man. It's amazing when you sit there and think about, as a real estate agent or as a broker, how much money you've been losing since you've been in the industry. And it's a lot, man. It's a lot, So for us to put this package together in a level program and not raise the rates and not charge them money, it's like you said earlier, you said this 10 minutes ago, it's a volume game, right? And that's how we're working is, listen, if we take care of our real estate agents and we take care of our customers, then we're going to be putting ourselves in a position to make certain that we're, becoming that company that we want to become. We want to become one of the, top companies in the country. And so, and we're quickly, being recognized for that. We've had some of these investors rocket flew down, just a few months ago and wanted to know what we're doing here to disrupt the industry. So, but there's a lot of money being left out on the table out there that doesn't have to happen, So,
When it comes, or why is right now, heading into 2026, the inflection point for agents to add lending and become dual licensed?
I mean, the best time to save money is right now. The best time to make money is right now, okay? And the best time to stop losing money is yesterday, man. And so we tell people, listen, it's a brand new year, okay? It's taken us almost a year to create this product, to make sure that it's legal, to make it a name recognition. And so now that it's out there and we have the support system behind it, we have the visuals, we have everything that's fully operational at this level, 2026, man, this could be all these real estate agents that have been hurting, okay? Imagine their income going up by 33 or 50% by not changing anything from what they're doing, with the exception of just going out there and going to the level program. So to me, 26 should be a big year, not only for direct rate and for level, but every single agent out there. And I feel that we've got that tool, we've got that benefit to make this a reality for all these agents out there.
It is the year of the horse, 2026. So you need to be galloping into your future.
You
No
need
question
to, man.
about it.
Yeah, you better saddle up and go, man, right?
Yeah. So let's say a real estate agent decides to join the program. What 3 habits have you seen that predict an agent that's going to absolutely crush it in the first 90 days?
Well, first of all, losing any type of procrastination. That's the number one thing, okay? We set up a system at the company there to pretty much hold the hand of these real estate agents to walk them through that. Some of these companies that have tried doing this is they tell the agent, hey, get yourself licensed. Once you do that, come back to us. No, we don't do that. We hold your hand the entire way until you actually pass that test, and then we onboard you. So, what's going to help somebody crush it? Number one is commit. That's the first thing. And the way you're going to commit is at least listen to the presentation and know and understand what level is all about. And once you truly see that level is the real platform to save this industry, then you're going to realize, and be prepared with any kind of questions that are swirling through your head that might make you think that, you know what, I'm just not comfortable. Is this legal? Is this real? Is this really going to work? Bring those questions to the table because we have answers for everything. So the first thing would be to just interact and commit. The second thing is once you commit, then we would have the onboarding, the training. And by the way, once you get licensed, you're not left alone. We have continuous classes to help you not only recruit, but help you understand how the level program works. And then stage 2 is going to be to pair you up with a loan officer, making certain that the personality is going to match. You're a real estate agent. You got your license. You pick your loan officer. Do you want a male? Do you want a female? Do you want a Hispanic? Do you want a Spanish-speaking one? So we got all sorts of personalities that are going to be, and they all work the same, available 24/7. And then I would say that as you're getting started, test us out, man.
Yeah.
Test us out. Run a few loans through our company to see how we operate. And you will fall in love with the way that we operate. And I can tell you right now, your clients, your customers are going to fall in love with the way we operate. Because number one is our goal is 2 things for your customers. Number one is get them into the home with the least amount of money out of their pocket at the closing table. And number 2, give them the lowest payment possible because they're going to be faced with that payment for the next so many years. So I would say try us out, man. Give us a shot.
Yeah.
Give us a shot.
Absolutely. So obviously you guys are scaling relatively quickly. How do you maintain the underwriting and service quality as you're scaling?
Yep.
How do you maintain that?
Yep. So let's talk about quality. First of all, every single one of our loan officers has, 10 plus years of experience. So we don't just put anybody on there hoping that they're going to know what they're going to be doing or hoping we're going to get lucky and get it across the finish line. That's not the way we operate. In fact, we have a whole entire bench built up right now that are in training, learning how to speak, learning how to produce. So let's start with the loan officers first of all. Loan officers, second to none. Okay, we've had a lot of people that have come through our doors now that we're shutting other companies down accidentally. Okay,
Oops.
It's happening. It's happening. But some of the loan officers are like, hey, you know what? You guys are taking my loan, so why not join you guys? I want an interview.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, and they come through the doors, and if it's not the personality we're looking for, the commitment we're looking for, then unfortunately we have to tell these people no. But if it's somebody that we think that's going to fit the culture of our company, then we'll give those guys a shot. So front side, loan officers, second to none. They're the best loan officers, and it's not, I'm not saying this because it's my company, but they are phenomenal loan officers. Second thing is that we're going to connect them. We have in-house processing, okay? In-house processing works 24/7. Everyone in the computer, we have bought everybody in the computer laptops. So when they go home on Saturdays or Sundays, they're home working. They everyone in the company is 100% commission based. So everyone wants to close that loan. They're going to do whatever it takes to close that loan, including working around the clock. So when it comes to underwriting, though, that's where a lot of companies probably fail, is because they bottleneck the underwriting. Okay, I have selected to handle our underwriting through our investors. Right now, we've got over, if you were to take our investors, we probably have over 6,000 underwriters that work at the drop of a dime for us.
Wow.
They work Saturdays, they work Sundays for us. So there's never any type of lag with our underwriters. We've done in-house underwriting in the past. That's where things get bottlenecked because you tend to sit there, and underwriters are very expensive. So what we've done in the past, okay, or what companies have done in the past is they'll sit there and bring on a small number of underwriters, and all of a sudden when production goes up, underwriters get bottlenecked, and all of a sudden the delays come into play and things like that. We don't want that to happen, so there's no delays with us. So, yeah, I mean, expect a smooth closing with direct rate. You know, we can close these things as fast as 12 or 13 days. Most contracts are anywhere from 19 to 25 days, but for the most part, you know, we work very efficiently.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, you've set yourself up for volume. So you've
Yeah.
created a system around volume being your number one, with service and quality being a staple of that as well.
Yeah, we kind of set the company up backwards, and that's a good point. Most companies that, you know, are not in a situation like myself or my business partners to where they need to start making money right now.
Right.
So they set up their company, and then they start building the company in order to make a paycheck right now. We're kind of working it backwards. We're building the company behind the scenes here, and we're launching it as we speak here. So when we say building the company, of course, the processors, loan officers, the managers, you know, they're being taken care of. But we've really built this company around the level program to making certain that we can actually compensate these real estate agents without having to raise the rates. So yeah, the training, the meetings, the ongoing rah-rah, just meetings that we've had here to get these guys up to par is, you know, they're in a good place right now. And so, and if anything, I mean, we're overstaffed, and that's a good position to be in.
Yeah.
We're overstaffed, which means the quality is always going to be there. And so we're set up to, again, we're not just trying to be just any mortgage company.
Right.
We're a small-time mortgage company. We're trying to be one of the big boys out there. And in order for that to happen, you have to have structure in your company, which is really what we're going through right now, setting up the structure, the organizational, you know, platform of the company here, because we've grown so fast. But the production is we can take on 1,000% more production-wise and not lose quality.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got your wisdom from your past venture, you know.
Yeah.
And running through that craziness.
Yeah, I had to kind of self-teach myself, you know, and it's been the best thing for us right now for this company, you know.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, quick little bit of objection handling for when people are interested in the level program. And I'm going to put this right on Instagram so that when people see our ads and they're not quite sold, that they will have this. So one of the objections that a real estate agent might say is, I'm too busy. What do you say to that?
Listen, I get it, okay? If you're too busy, obviously you're doing a lot of production. So if you don't mind me asking before we hang up the phone here, you know, how much production have you done in the past 12 months? Obviously you're busy.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, not too many people in your situation. So what we do is at this point is we sit there and say, hey, you know what, how much business have you done in the past so many months?
20 million over the past year.
Okay, so you know what? You've lost out on $200,000 out there. I get the fact that you're busy, but here's the thing though. This is not going to take any time away from you. Okay, when it comes to the classes, it's only 23 hours. It's not 180 hours like you had to commit to when you were a real estate agent. We're talking about 23 hours, Alec. You can do that on a Saturday and Sunday from the comfort of your own home. Okay. And after that, you can study for 4 or 5 days, take the test, get a 75% or higher, and just like that, congratulations. You've given yourself a 33% raise going forward. So for you to tell me that you're too busy, listen, okay, if I were to put $200,000 on that counter right now, would you go grab it?
Yes.
You would. You wouldn't be too busy to go grab that money, would you?
No.
That's what we're offering. That's what we represent, honestly. So I get it. You know, a lot of people say the same thing. I'm too busy. And that's the great thing about Level is the fact that, you know what, we're not going to take any more time from you that you're having to do right now. It's just going to add more revenue to your bottom line.
Wow. Well, I'm just worried about compliance, though. This doesn't sound like it's by the book.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, okay? Before we even launched this program, though, Alec, okay, we spent a ton of money, and we spent a ton of money making certain that everything was compliant. We reached out to the DFPI in California, the Texas Savings and Loan, the NMLS. We reached out to every single major institution out there that controls the lending industry. So the very first thing that we did is we went out there and we researched it. And by the way, you don't have to believe me. Look it up. Congress passed this law back in 2022 that's in 45 states. And so in 45 states, you're allowed to be a dual agent. And so we've already done the research. We've got everything that's passed through compliance. It's 100% protected.
All right. That sounds good, but I feel like I'm going to sever some relationships. I believe that my mortgage lenders are going to be upset with me.
Yeah, you know what? And here's the thing, though. The last thing we want to do is ruin any relationships you have out there. But you've got to ask yourself this, okay? Is severing a relationship with a loan officer worth you going out there and making an extra 33% on all your income. And I say that, Alec, because, if you were a high producer, like you said a while ago, you've left $200,000 on the table. Did your loan officer or did your current lender provide you with that type of income? They probably didn't. So I get the fact that you've got relationships. I respect that. At the end of the day, though, okay, we have an avenue where you can actually earn more without having to do any extra work from what you're doing right now. So it's a tough decision. We tell people it's a tough decision. You got your relationship, but is that relationship going to compensate you an extra 1% on all your transactions? Probably not. Mm-mm. And if they are, it might be illegal.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to send you commissary money in an orange jumpsuit. So you might want to be careful with that. But yeah, it's that's probably our number one.
And I think worst case scenario, maybe they could even tell their lenders to go and join Direct Rate, and then they can partner with them.
We tell them the same thing. You know what? If you're truly engaged with your loan officer, have them interview for Direct Rate. And there's going to be more opportunity there. So that's a good point.
So what do you think overall success looks like for level agents 24 months from now?
24 months from now, geez, man. I mean, if you jump on board right now, forget about 24 months down the road. Let's talk about 6 months down the road.
Okay.
If you jump on board right now, okay, well, if you want to answer your question 24 months down the road, anybody who joins level should be sitting on an island somewhere retired, okay? So let's talk about right now to 6 months down the road. Right now, you get immediate income on your current loans, okay? You spread the word and go out there and get your coworkers to do the same thing, and you're building yourself a team that's going to be residual income for the rest of your life as long as that agent goes to Direct Rate. So what does it look like 24 months down the road? It's going to be scary for these people. We put a chart together that if you really apply yourself over the next 6 to 9 months, you can build your income if you really focus on this. And we're talking, if you could just focus in maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. A day. It's not a whole lot. Okay? Some people think that they're working 8 hours a day because they're in an office, but in reality, they're not really working.
No.
If you were to dedicate 2 to 3 hours every single day down here with a level program as a real estate agent when it comes to doing your own deals and maybe passing the word on to someone else, you could put yourself in a position to earn $500,000 a year on just your residual income.
Right.
There's no other industry that offers a residual income like what we're doing right now.
Yeah. And here's the thing that I will say. Coming from somebody who has spent 10 years building a business and having to go through all of the complications of fulfillment on my promises that I make to our clientele.
Right.
It's nuts. Like I'm spending, me and you both know as entrepreneurs, you're spending every single day, 10 hours a day. Some days they're 16, some days they're 4. But for the most part, they're long, hard days, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You're telling real estate agents with 2 to 3 hours a day, if they're going out, trying to reach out to past clientele, helping them refinance, and then building their team with them, they could basically build a $500,000 business.
They can.
In no time, compared to what it took me 5 years to get to $500,000 a year.
We're seeing it happen on a small scale right now because we just launched this.
Right.
But already it's taken off for some people. We've got agents in our program right now that have not only signed up their own agency, but they're tapping into the competition.
Yeah.
Tapping into the competition. And some of these broker owners are sitting there saying, you know what? I really like this. We'll be joining very soon. Okay, I'm going to do this at the very beginning of the year. We're telling these people, hey, we have marketing reps that are reaching out to your very own people right now. And if they sign up right now with someone else, that someone else is going to be earning their overrides instead of for you.
Yeah. So
let's get this taken care of. So you know what? It's one of those deals too where we had to put together a playbook, man. Because when we first put this together and San Antonio found out about it, they were trampling over each other. Hey, I signed that person up. Well, now we have a playbook.
Yep.
So you didn't sign this person up. You introduced them, but they signed up with someone else. So there's a whole legal playbook that we have behind this and certain ways to make certain that the flow and really the chaos is controlled.
Yeah. I've seen the LevelLink software that you guys have.
And we have the LevelLink, a proprietary. So that kind of lets you see what your production is doing, what your downline is doing, how much you got. It's got a little like a little checkbook right here, a little piggy bank. Tells you how much you're getting on the next paycheck. So yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Now, if an agent is on the fence about moving forward with Level, what's the one action that you want them to take today and why?
Listen, take action for yourself, man, not for the person that's sitting there trying to feed you all this malarkey that, hey, I'm your lender and where's the loyalty? Where is the loyalty? Okay? I want anyone that knows about this should take action immediately. And I say this because you know what? This industry is tough. It's time that you start taking care of yourself instead of your loan officer that you think is taking care of you. Listen, I've had so many people tell me, oh, my loan officer takes care of me. Well, how do they take care of you? Well, they close my loans. Hello? Yeah. I mean, okay, so that's part of their job. Yeah, but they answer the phone. Oh, okay. Well, that's a secret to me. They're supposed to answer the phones. What I'm talking about is, are they compensating you for your efforts?
Right.
So since this program has been born, action needs to be taken right away, because what is happening right now, Alec, is that real estate agents on every single transaction, there's money to be made on the loan officer side. And right now, if they're giving it to someone else besides direct rate, that's called a donation. And it's a big donation. It begins to add up. I mean, you think about it, man. I mean, Christmas time coming around, who wouldn't want to have an extra 1% of their transactions, whether it's $6,000 or $7,000? So I would say action needs to be taken immediately.
Yeah.
Stop leaving money on the table, man.
Well, right now, the way I see it is this is a foot race, and the gun has gone off, and the agents that have already taken advantage of this they're 40 yards ahead of everybody else. So it's kind of like you need to get yourself on that starting line, or you're not even going to finish. Because right now it's a marketing differentiator. This makes you different. This makes you competitive. This allows you to make more money. And if you're starting 6 months from now, 3 months from now, even next month, you're going to have another cohort of 1,000 agents that are ahead of you. Chances are they're in your territory already.
1,000% true. That's happening right now. There's an organization, I won't mention the name. It's a big organization in Dallas. A lady that we've been talking to for about 4 months. And she gave us her numbers of what she did in a down year, which was in 2024. And they did like 1.2 bill.
Whoa.
And I said, listen, you lost out on $1.2 million. It could have been yours. Now, in a perfect world, had those run through direct rate, you would have had this type of, overrides. Or she didn't even make a portion of that on the real estate side. And I said, this is off your whole entire market center. I said, so are you ready to sign up? And she was excited. She was sold. Sent her the link. 2 or 3 days went by. Nothing. Reached out to her once again. And she says, you know what? I'm extremely excited, but I'm very busy. The busy excuse, right?
Yeah. Love that objection.
And I said, I get it. I said, listen, we're talking about take the weekend to get the classes. She didn't listen. Next phone call came like 2 months ago. Okay? 2 months ago, she calls me and says, hey, she goes, I've already lost out on how many people because you're signing up with so-and-so agency. And you're to blame for this. I said, why am I to blame for this? They said, because they heard about the level program through their friend, and now they're working at this other brokerage. I said, that's exactly what's happening here. That's not my fault. They're looking for a better opportunity.
Yeah.
So she says, okay, listen, let's jump into this at the beginning of the year. And I said, okay, we can wait. But I can tell you right now, you're going to lose so many more. And I said, those people that decided to leave you, I said, saw the opportunity. So it's for some and it's not for some. There's going to be people who are going to procrastinate. They're going to just think that this thing is not going to work. And good luck to those people. Eventually, they're going to either lose the people that are working for them or they'll come around, one of the two. But yeah, man, it's amazing how procrastination can really cost you a ton of money. And we're seeing that with some of these agencies out there.
Yeah, most people don't get to see the repercussions for their procrastination in real time. And right now, people are really seeing this.
They are, man.
Like I said, you've started the race.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, are you even going to hop on the starting line, or are you going to be in the crowd watching these people take gold medals? Yeah.
You know what's neat, man, is we have a classroom in our building, in our office, and it sits about 50 people or so.
Yeah.
And we have meetings in there 2 or 3 times a day. And we're talking about it fills up every single day, 5 days a week. And every now and then I'll go in there and peek in there to see who's in there. And it's funny to see some of these agents, and they kind of put their heads down. They're most embarrassed because some of these agents sat there and said no to us 5 months ago, 4 months ago when we started the race. And now they're in there. They're like, hey, I should have done this a long time ago. I said, yeah. I said, this thing is real. So the word is getting out there.
Yeah,
right?
you've completely disrupted the market, and now it's like it's either get in now or see you later.
Man.
Yeah, this is the, and I don't want to be too harsh, but the Titanic is sinking. Yeah, no, the real estate market is getting hard. There's 5-6 million real estate agents out there. 70% of them aren't even closing anything. So you're amongst a very competitive 30%. So if you want to stand out and rise to that top 5, that top 10, even that top 1%, you have to make a move.
Yeah.
You have to.
have to.
Or somebody else is going to, and especially if you're a broker.
Yeah.
Broker owner. Your agents are going to start moving around. You're going to lose them if you're not bringing it to your office first and being that innovative person saying, I am here to take you to the next level, pun intended.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm here to take you to the next level and make you more money because I am your fearless leader. You know what I mean?
Two types of people out there, the smart ones, the ones that get it, and the ones that don't get it, man.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't get it are the ones that are falling behind the race, and they're the ones that are coming back to us, and they're the ones that are sitting in my office, building, coming to these meetings 4 or 5 months later when they could have been there, and they're starting to see it. But you're right, though, Alec. I mean, these broker owners are the ones that are in a prime position to go out there and not only earn off their personal production, but off their entire company, man.
Right.
And it's such perfect timing because NAR came out with these laws that said, hey, you know what? Now the owners and the public is very aware of the laws with the real estate agent, and now they have to negotiate.
Right.
So some of these poor agents are so underpaid, first of all. Everybody says, oh, these real estate agents are overpaid. No, they're not, man. Yeah. The miles that they put on their cars and for the pictures and for the promotional stuff and for the advertisements, they spend a ton of money.
They work
and
hard.
then and then the piece that they have to give to their broker, it's another big chunk of money. So by the time they're left with it, it's not as much as people think it is.
Yeah, because now the sellers are the one that are in control of the commission. They have to negotiate with the buyers. If I have that correctly, either way, I know
they do.
It's a negotiation at the table, and where it used to be an even split. Okay, fine, and then still your broker owner takes a percentage. But now
it's changed now.
I've had some of my friends say they're earning 1% when they're bringing the buyer to the table.
Same here, man. Same
and it's
here.
just like, damn.
I've seen 1%, 1.5%. So when we say an extra 33%, sometimes it's 100% more that you can make by going through the level program because we're starting to see that more and more. And some agents have even said, well, Ponch, she goes, I can't even negotiate with these people. They only give me 1% or well, get your other 1% over here, right?
Yeah,
or the ones that are getting the 3%, they're asking, hey, can I contribute that towards my customer? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Or can we negotiate that? And yeah, you can. There's a lot that you can do with this 1%. So
it gives you wiggle room too to even you can just even if you don't want to earn the extra 1%, which is crazy, but either way, you could use the commission that you'd be earning off of the real estate transaction. And because you're in the position to help them control the loan origination process, you can you can have some seller concessions, or you can give up a part of your commission to help them buy down their rate.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's no big deal because you're looking really good to the client, but you've got your 1% right there. It's sitting, it's a nice little nest egg, and over here you're helping your clients. They're never going to leave you. They're going to recommend you to all of their friends. So you're just creating a better reputation for yourself, and this is why it's
better experience, man, the reputation, the earning, no extra workload. The customers win with the better rates, the better no out-of-pocket costs on the lender side. So, for the longest time, it was hard to compete against some of these builders out there because they're giving the house away. Yeah. Now we can compete with these builders.
Yeah. Anything else that you want to say about direct rate or level?
No, you know what? It's just something that it's very family oriented, and
it is.
I guess the culture we're trying to build around this is, I'm not that type of person who's going to go out there and preach a word, but I'm going to try to live it as much as I can. And right now we're trying to create a culture at our company to where it's God first, family second, and then work third. But with that being said and done, we know that we have to work and take care of our customers. So even though we go by that structure, our loan officers are available 24/7. And I can let you know right now that anybody that tries us out, okay, let me warn you guys out there, if you try direct rate, you're not going to leave us.
Mm-hmm.
Once a real estate agent uses us, we never lose those people. And when it comes to customer, okay, it's going to be a great experience. So I would say for those people that are kind of teeter-tottering, those real estate agents that aren't unsure of, how the relationship is working with the current lender, number one, this is a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. Bring your loans to us. Give us a shot. And even the ones that are just thriving with a current lender, okay, because you're closing your loans and everything is great, give us a shot because now you can earn that extra 1%. So I would say that before it's too late, it's that boat that's passing by. You need to jump on it because everyone that we're introducing this to it's taken off.
Yeah.
So
not only is it a lifeboat, it's a 1983 Donzi. It's got speed.
It's got speed, man, it's moving. That's exactly right. It's got 3 motors. It's going quick, man.
I love it.
So yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Now we're gonna sit down again on December 3rd of next year. I want you to, because I'm a big believer in manifestation. We're both faith-based men. Where is direct rate and level going to be at this time next year when we sit down? What type of accomplishments are we going to talk about?
Well, my daughter comes from the nonprofit sector, man. And I started to say this earlier that I've got a humanitarian heart. And so I would love to see direct rate climb the ladder when it comes to the, just the giving part of the world, to be able to kind of give back to, to the children that are lacking. I was one of those kids growing up. But on the selfish side, though, I think that direct rate is destined to be, on the national level, being recognized as one of the top companies within the next 12 months. You said December 3rd of 26. Next year. I think that we'll be a national household name. Certainly, we're starting to tip that scale right now with some of the likes of Rocket and UWM and some of these big boys coming out there to visit us to say, hey, you know what? We want to be a part of you guys. I mean, think about it. Rocket, we want to be a part of you guys. They're not saying we want you guys to be a part of us. So that's a big compliment. So I think direct rate is definitely headed there. Now, Level, I feel that Level is already the number one platform for real estate agents to gain an extra income without having to create a second job. So I think, right now we're only in 6 or 7 states. This time next year, we're hoping to be in all those 45 states.
Beautiful.
And so that everybody across the country will have an opportunity to take advantage of this Level program. And, behind the scenes, I think we're starting, and we're seeing it firsthand in San Antonio. We're starting to slowly but surely get into some of these other bigger mortgage companies. And I think at some point that some of those companies that used to be competition may no longer be around.
They may not.
And I'm being very bold in saying that, but you know what? I'm seeing some signs of that. So I think 12 months from right now, everything's going to be full operational. Everyone who's a real estate agent in this country is going to know about Level. Mm-hmm. And by that time, we'll have an enormous staff that can take everybody on board. So that's my goal, man. My goal is to be one of the top companies and for Level to continue to save the industry like it's doing right now.
And it most certainly will. There's no question about it. You've got me bought in. I've drank the Kool-Aid. Out of curiosity, though, we can kind of clip that and end it if we want to, but out of curiosity, what brought you guys to me, or what opened the door for you to consider that marketing and advertising in a more newer age version of it, not so much the telemarketing anymore? What pushed you to want to go that route and to welcome somebody like me with open arms?
Yep. So failure, not on your part. Okay. We heard about this one company that was out of Miami. They flew their guys down here. We did videotaping and we did some videos. Not nearly the numbers that you did, right? But they came down and it was somebody was very highly recommended to us. Mm-hmm. So we gave those guys a shot, and it was a marketing company that was really focused in on geofencing and marketing and could drive the business and, really put our brand out there on the national level. And so we were working with these guys, Alec, for probably about maybe, no joke, man, probably about 5 or 6 months. Mm-hmm. And we were always, the time frames were being busted. We were never getting anything. We spent a ton of money on these things, and I said I'd never do this again. And then Eric is the one that, Eric or Ben said, hey, man, we got our business partner. I'm not sure, do you do some stuff with Prestige?
We do, yeah. So that's how I think we got our first in, as we were working with Prestige Motorsports.
And I think that's how you came across, and they say, hey, I think you should meet this guy, Alec Wintersponch, and, he's a good dude. He's been doing this for us. And so even though you haven't proven yourself to me, I think it was more your character. Yeah. To somebody, I said, I like this guy, man. I like this guy. And you know what? And that was the first thing. I'm all about character, man.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that. I didn't see that in the other people, man. The other people, you could just see that they were just like, give me the next paycheck, give me the next paycheck, and they were grumpy, and they were acting like we're this little, man. And that's not the case here. I always try to put myself in the position of a the lowest person in the totem pole, and I am. Yeah. I'm the lowest person in the totem pole. As long as I work that way and look up, and take care of the people that are above us, and everything should work out. But I took a huge liking to you. Yeah. Alec, I did, man. It was something about you, man. And then you showed me one of the videos. I said, yeah, we got to have this guy here, man. So just a lot of trust in Eric and these guys. And so, there's been absolutely nothing negative that I can say about you. If anything, it's been to the contrary, man. It's been like, okay, this guy's jazzed up. This guy's got a lot of energy. This guy, Alec, drives down from Austin to San Antonio all the time. So this is our guy right here. Yeah. So it was just a trust thing, and it was a timing thing is what it was, man.
Yeah. I think God brought us together at the right time.
Man,
sometimes you got to go through a couple.
You know what? I think so too, man. I think so, man. It's amazing because tomorrow is my mom's 5th year anniversary. Mm-hmm. And so we're having a big old celebration at my sister's house tomorrow, but I'm a big believer in little signs, man. Sometimes I go talk to the light bulb because it's flashing. I think that's my mom talking to me right there. But I think you're right, though, Alec. I think it's I think the big man brought us together, man.
No question about it.
You know, we just got to stick together, man, continue to work through these things and realize that, you know, there's going to be some bumps in the road that we're going to work through. And so as long as we can work together, I think we're going to have a long future together.
Absolutely. I agree. And I just want to say thank you for coming. Now I got you to come up from San Antonio to Austin to do this, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. This is fun, man.
Yeah, you've been a delight to talk to. It was good getting to learn a little bit more about your history and have more of like your background and understand all that. And I will probably never forget the video that you showed me when we were sitting in the conference room of you surprising your mother coming off of the G5 jet or whatever.
Yes,
like,
man.
That was so cool.
I landed that thing in a small town in Fort Stockton, man. I'm from Pecos, and Fort Stockton is at like 45 miles away, and we radioed into the airport in Pecos, and they said, our landing strip is too small for that. The next
Pilot's like, I got this.
And they said the next one is going to be in Fort Stockton. So, yeah, we landed the jet there, and
so cool.
my mom got to see that, and of course they were celebrating. But yeah, good times, man.
Well,
it's hard to believe, though, that 30-something years later, here I am again, man. The voice inside me feels like it's like 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
But I look in the mirror, it's like, man, you're pretty old now, man. You know, so.
You still don't have as much gray hair as I do, though, so you're doing
good.
all right. You're doing all right.
Good, man. I wish I had your hair, man. But
well, again,
no, this has been fun, though, man.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. The name of this is Scaling with Purpose, and I think we've discovered some of your purpose, and we're going to continue to scale this business together. And I'm thankful for the blessing that we were brought together, and I can't wait to kick some booty.
Yes, sir. I'm excited, man. I
Right,
appreciate it, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex.